Can start.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wong En, and I'm the moderator today. Welcome back to the fifth talk for our Legal Awareness Week. Today, we will be discussing on the topic fake news and privacy. Since social media has become our mode of communication and sharing, fake news and misleading information have been spreading among us. Especially during this COVID-19 pandemic, fake news are all over the internet. We can always see fake information being shared on social media, especially through WhatsApp, about the vaccine, the new COVID cases, about the MCO lockdown, and etc. Most of the time, this misleading info can really cause problems to the public and slow down the recovery process of the pandemic. So, today we will share some knowledge on the law of fake news. Besides, we will also share some info on privacy law. Can someone record your telephone conversation or take a picture of you? When you give your personal data online, what can they use it for? Join us to know when your privacy is being infringed. So today, we have two speakers with us. Welcome Mr. Jason, who has been practiced for 11 years in the area of general litigation and conveyancing. Mr. Jason will share with us on fake news. Also, welcome Mr. Satya from Satya Lee & Co. He has been practicing as lawyer for the past 10 years, and his area of practice is general litigation, including criminal litigation. He will talk about privacy. So now, let's first welcome Mr. Jason to talk about fake news.
Hi,
Mr. Jason.
thank you, Wong En. Yeah, thank you, Wong En. First of all, thanks everyone tuning in to our sessions, whereby I will be touched on fake news, and of course, I think this is very hot topics, I guess, because at any seconds that information flowing into your phone. And of course, you will have to make a decision whether the information that you receive, it is a genuine, the authenticity of the information, whether it is correct information, whether it is a fake news, right? So now I would like to start off with the heading itself. It pretty straightforward, fake news. So what is it about? Now, if you look at the as stated here, it has been defined. Actually the Anti-Fake Law Act 2018 mentions 2 as giving a definition to it. It is regards to informations, data, news that are wholly or partly false, which is something not true, whether in the form of visual or audio recording. So I believe some of us have received audio, sound, probably some of it are not true, and information that cannot be verified immediately. So those are the chances that it is a fake news. Okay, so in this context, there are two terms that we use here to identify as far as the element of fake news is concerned. Number one is misinformation, and number two is disinformation. Now, misinformation is regards to a false and inaccurate information that mistakenly spread out to you. Now, the intent is not to deceive, but then it is something that you receive from your friends, and you, with no malice, no intent to share it out with another friends. Now, that's misinformation that you pass it on. The other terminology is disinformation, which is a creator, I would say the author of the misinformation that deliberately spread out to the public and with an objective to influence the public opinion. Now we move on to the next slide, which is to share with you on how do you identify the fake news. Well, these are the ways and a few ways that you can identify them. Now, of course, number one, very normal, that you have to check with your sender. So who is the person who sent to you? By large majority, it will be sent through your friends. Then you will have to then check with your friends whether those information are accurate. Now, this exercise, you have to do it simply because later we'll go into the law and we will tell you what is the consequence of being the sender, a accomplice in the crime, it is an offense. So it is important to identify whether it is a fake news that you are sharing. Now, of course, number one is check with the sender. Number two, you will have to identify the article, whether it's from the trustworthy platform, whether it is a national channel or public news. We will have to see at which platform those articles generated. The third one, of course, just for the benefit of all, there is such a website by the name of sebenarnya.my. Now here you can actually verify the authenticity of the news, right? Moving on, then you can see some of this punctuation. The normal authentical documents won't have the free or sparing error or the punctuations issues. Now, the last one, you will have to determine who is the author, whether the platform is reliable. Now, these are all some of the platforms or the way to identify whether those are fake news, right? So you move on to the next one. Now, giving you a few examples of this fake news, it is in conjunction of the current pandemic situation in this country. Therefore, we are giving out some of this example of COVID-19 fake news that contain misleading information. And I'm sure it is not strange to you. It is no strangers to you. For example, claims number one is vaccine can alter our DNA. Now, this information basically it is not accurate. The truth has been answered here. Now, number two is the claim. The second claim is vaccine is unsafe because it's rapid productions, and the answer is there as well. Now, the third one, those who have infected with COVID not to be vaccinated. Now, those kind of claims that you saw, and you have an answer by not verifying the truthfulness of those so-called the claims, and you spread it out. Now, that will deem as misleading information. Okay, all right. So you move on to the next slide. We will then look at the regulation in fake law. Right now, this fake law, or so-called the fake news. Yeah, this fake news basically it was actually born back in 2018, whereby during the Najib era, the Anti-Fake News Act 2018 was passed back in April 2018. Subsequently, now this is the Anti-Fake News Act, Sections 4. It basically gives a definition here: whoever, a person who have malice, created and offer, publish, print the fake news information, basically will be liable for a fine maximum up to 500K, all right, 500,000, or imprisonment maximums of 6 years, or both. Now, these are the punishment provision. Of course, continuing offense with a maximum of 3,000 every day. This is back then, whereby this law has been enacted and passed. Subsequently, when the Pakatan Harapan have took over the government, has repealed with the Anti-Fake News Act 2018 back in October 2019. But it was actually not complete on this repeal, and subsequently, with the recent development, then you can see there is an ordinance, right? Anti-fake news ordinance was actually gazetted. Now, this is the Emergency Essential Power Ordinance 2021, back in March. Now, this is it is whereby our country is under emergency, whereby the Yang Tuan Agong have passes this with the those whoever committed, which is very in line with the anti-fake news. Now, if whoever committed, they will be subject to a maximum fine of 100,000 or maximum 3 years jail or both. If the offender continues, a person can be fined up to 1,000 every day. Now, this seems identical with the previous one, but this ordinance, it is to govern the nation in conjunctions of the pandemic, because of the current positions of the nation who are battling the COVID-19. And of course, it is a government best effort not to disseminate all the fake news or misinformation, misleading the general public. Now, this, other than all the laws that we mentioned so far, there is also there's also another law that probably will fall under. Now, the one that we have looked into, it is Anti-Fake News Act 2018, right? And then we have an ordinance in place, and not to forget, you might also violated Publication Act 1984, right? So the Printing Presses and Publication Act 1984. So that is also another, probably if you have committed a crime, these are the act. Of course, the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998 is also, there is another provision there to look at, whereby there is also a punishment sessions there. Apart from there, not to forget, in our country, we have a criminal procedure code, the penal code, which also empower the police to investigate the matter under the penal code. Now, these are all the law in place. I think it is enough law to safeguard, as far as if you committed and proven that you have disseminated false information, there are law in place, punishment are in place. So therefore, this session is created awareness to everyone not to share out information that are not verified, the truthfulness, the authenticity of it. Yeah, you have to be careful on the things that you share. Other than the author himself, of course, most by large in a group, most probably most of us is just forward information that we receive. But now you have to think twice of the information that you share out, because as far as the law is concerned, you will be deemed as a complice. Contribute to this fake news sharing. So for the majority of us who receive information that are not authentical, then we have to be extremely careful. In particular, on a daily basis, that you can see the numbers of COVID-19 cases. Now, there are plenty of examples that we have experienced before. Is out of the blue, it tremendously high on the number, or tremendously low on the number. So you will have to check from the MySejahtera platform to verify the information. So other than other platform, then you have to think twice by sharing it, because without you knowing, you might probably committed a crime that you wouldn't even realize it. Now, these are the, as far as the fake law is concerned, that I would like to share with you. If you have any issues or concern discuss in deep, you can actually contact us. Myself or Mr. Satya, we are able to help you when we are offline. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jason, for your sharing.
Thanks.
Now, welcome the second speaker, Mr. Satya, to talk about privacy law with us.
Thank you, Mr. Jason, for your briefing earlier, and thank you, Wong En, for your introduction. Okay, I'll be. Thank you for viewers who are watching us on this information of the anti-fake news. I'll be discussing on the topic of privacy. Basically, privacy is that state of being apart from observation or public attention, or it's like make sure that you're by yourself, that no one is being obstructed on your privacy. But over here, privacy could be very global, could be your lifestyle, could be your info, could be anything. But the topic that we are focusing today is more to your personal information. Then there's a few issues that the viewers outside there, need to look into it. Because there's a few issues that they need to consider before they can do, whether they can do or not. For example, can someone record telephone conversation? Usually it happens in a normal day-to-day basis. People usually record the conversation, and then in our industry they say, can this be used as evidence? Because he's talking like this. Can I use in my ongoing case to support? Okay, so the answer, if it's government, the answer is yes. Is gazetted under section 116C of the Criminal Procedure Code, is where the power is confined to the public prosecutor. Which says that if the public prosecutor considers that it is likely to contain information relating to the commission of an offence, it can authorize the police officer to intercept, listen, record message or communication. This is need to be, the police officer need to get a consent from the public prosecutor. Then only they can. In this, if the police officer has been tapping your phone conversation and they call you for this, that means they've gotten their consent from the public prosecutor. And of course, the viewers outside there will be thinking, how come police can be tapping into my phone line without my consent? It is they have the rights because they have obtained a consent from the public prosecutor. Now we talk about individuals. This is where to our day-to-day basis happens. Can someone record telephone conversation? Now we are referring to the individuals. Earlier we are focusing more on governments who are recording, checking whether the government can tap your conversation or not. For individuals, the answer is no. It's comprised under the section 234 of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998. We say that a person without the lawful authority attempts to intercept any communication or disclose or attempt to disclose the information that was obtained by interception commit an offence. These individuals can be fined up to 50,000 or imprisonment maximum 1 year or both. When they have been charged under the section 234 of Communication and Multimedia Act 1998, they will be charged in a criminal court. And if they are found guilty, they'll have a criminal record. So people outside there, please consider before you want to take into an action, record people's conversation and distributing to others. So when you distributing to others, that can lead you, the person that distributed, who distributed the conversation, the recorded conversation, they can be charged under criminal offense, and the person that spoke to you that you recorded, possibility they can sue you for defamation as well, because if any defamatory allegations involved. Okay, I'm done with the individuals. Okay, this is very common questions that happens. It's very common. Can someone take your picture without permission? Yes, because the answer is yes. Because a lot of people say, no, you can't take my picture because you're infringing my rights, and I didn't granted you any rights. But the answer is yes. Unfortunately, there's no law to stop individuals from taking pictures of the others. The case is stated it's been decided in the High Court in the case of Ultra Dimension Syndrome Barat versus Cook Wei Kwan, where the court held that no right to institute an action for invasion of privacy rights. Okay, so yes, of course they can snap your pictures, but it's still subject. What are they doing with your pictures? Are they distributing to others to tarnish your reputation, or they're using your picture for misuse your picture? Is still subject. What is the usage of the picture that has been taken? Okay. Further, you ask, can someone take your picture without permission? Unless. It's still a subject. There's still a provision, like I said earlier. In the section 509 of the Penal Code, say that if a person intrudes upon the privacy of other person with intention to insult the modesty of a person, he or she will be punished maximum 5 years imprisonment or fine or both. And this is it can be charged under criminal offense procedure, which the offense is as such. So, like I'm telling again, if you are charged, if you are found guilty or plead guilty under section 519 of the Penal Code, you will be charged. You will have a criminal record. So people outside there, please, of course you can snap the picture, but make sure you don't misuse the picture, because if you misuse the picture, it can lead to criminal offense. As under section 509, you can be charged, whereby the police might call for investigation, and you will be later subsequently be charged later if there's any element of wrongdoing has been found. Okay, in the civil case of Maslinda binti Isha versus Muhammad Tayyib bin Osman and others, this case was decided by court appeal, which states that in this case, the respondent took a photo of appellant squatting and urinating. Appellant was granted damages for invasion of privacy, which caused his humiliated, suffered from mental anguish. Again, I'm repeating, dear viewers. So, of course, you can snap the pictures, without their permission. But what's the use? If, for example, the case of Maslinda binti Isha will be a good example where the appellant was granted damages because the respondent took a picture of appellant squatting and urinating. It's invasion of privacy. So, dear viewers outside there, please be careful whenever you are snapping a picture without permission. Of course, you have the right to snap a people's picture without permission, but you must not misuse. If you misuse, you can be charged under Criminal Procedure Code, and if the person that you snap picture and they found as invasion of privacy, they can sue you for damages. So invasion of privacy could be many ways, like I said. Like in this case, because they're humiliated and suffered from mental anguish, they claim for damages. It could be defamatory. For example, another example, whereby you post their picture in Facebook and you said some defamatory allegation, which is not true, and you have sent the picture to someone else and misuse the code. So just be careful whenever you are sending people's picture, especially when in the WhatsApp, when there's a lot of us will be forwarding our pictures from someone to someone. Just make sure that you know the contents before you forwarding the pictures. You are asking what about my data online? Okay, data online is like there's a two type. It's comprised people's personal data our personal information is governed by the Act of Personal Data Protection Act 2010. For example, wherein you have keyed in your information in a commercial transaction. For example, very good example, during we are locked down now, most of us are purchasing through online. So we'll be like giving our data to Lazada or Shopee. So that's a commercial transaction, of course, because to complete it, you have to give the data, and they have the terms and condition which you have agreed to. And subsequently, you can't sue them if there's a breach of data, because usually there'll be a terms and condition where the person that purchased the product have agreed. This is a usual scenario. Or any subscribing online or anything. Sure, there's a long terms and condition which none of us will read. So please take an effort to read it, because if anything breached from the particular company, of course they are not might be covered, might not covered. I'm not sure. So you must take care. You must read the terms and conditions in details. But if individual, just say section 2 sub 1, this act only applies personal data in respect of commercial transaction. If like I told earlier, unless from the commercial that misused the details have to given to someone else, then of course you're covered. The usual case is under section 6, which where a data user shall not, in case of personal data other than sensitive personal data, process data about the data project unless consent is given. Yes. Whereby you given for example, I mean a simple example, just say I've given my personal data to the first speaker, Mr. Jason. And Mr. Jason, before you want to proceed to give to a third party, he must get a consent from me. So if he distributed my personal data to a third party and I get to know, I can sue him because it's covered by section 6. So that's a private law of privacy in a general. So dear viewers, just my concern, just be careful whatever involved of your personal data and the pictures as whatever I said earlier. So because the law is been very strict, you can be charged either for civil or criminal. Criminal, again, if you are being charged for, if you be found guilty or you plead guilty, there'll be a criminal record. While for civil, you can be sued for damages. So that's my presentation for today. Sorry, I got forgot one more. Sorry. How about my data online? It covers by Section 8 of Personal Data Protection Act 2010. It says that no personal data without consent of the data subject can be disclosed for any purpose other than purpose for which the data was to be disclosed at the time of the collection of data, unless necessary authorized consented. Yes, back to like Lazada or Shopee. They also can't release your data to a third party because it's your agreements. The terms and conditions only exist between you and them. For example, if you want to do so, then they must get your consent from you. You need authorized to them to use so. So my advice, if you're giving data to a third party, to outside people, to a third party, just be careful because the data can be misused in many ways, especially like credit card information, debit card information. That's a very common where people have been conned. Thank you very much for this evening, Mr. Wong En, for allowing me to give this one. The floor is back to you, Mr. Wong En.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Satya. So I guess today's session had come to an end. Through today's discussion, we can see that there is a lot of violation when social media has become the platform for people to share information but has been misused to spread fake news. A lot of things we share online will end up in everywhere and we don't even know its authenticity sometimes. So think twice before you share something. Make sure it is not false or misleading as it can cause you troubles. Also, be more aware when you share your pictures, personal details, and data online. Don't fall into traps of the perpetrator. Once again, thank you very much to our speaker for this fruitful discussion, and also not to forget all the audience who joined us. At the same time, just to remind everyone that MCO is extended, remember to comply with the SOPs. Besides, please follow our FB page and our Instagram, Jason Co & Co, to get more legal updates. So, stay tuned, stay at home, and stay safe. Take care. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.